Five.
I'm calling this meeting to order. This is a special meeting of the Redmond City Council held on Tuesday, October 8th, 2024, commencing at 6:33 p.m. Council members in attendance are Councilmember Salahuddin, Councilmember Stewart, Council Vice President Forsyth, Councilmember Nueva Camina, and online we have Councilmembers Anderson and Councilmember Fields, and myself, Council President Kritzer. This special meeting is being held to interview the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee candidate, Nate Moore. Jackie Layler, staff liaison, will introduce the candidate.
Thank you and good evening, Council. I'm pleased to introduce Nate for your consideration to serve on the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee, also known as the LTAC. As per state RCW, the LTAC is responsible for advising the Council on how to allocate lodging tax funds to attract visitors to Redmond. To recap, the City of Redmond's LTAC is composed of 3 hotelier positions, 3 funding recipients or event organizers, and a council chair in accordance with state RCW requirements that mandate representation from both hoteliers and fund recipients. If approved, Mr. Moore will fill the currently vacant hotel position number 1, previously held by Melody Lanthorn before her retirement from the Marriott in July. He would complete the remaining 2-year term, which expires on March 31, 2026. Following that term, he would be eligible for a reappointment for a full 4-year term. Mr. Moore currently serves as the general manager of the Seattle Marriott Redmond, bringing with him an impressive 26-year career with Marriott International, where he has held numerous leadership roles. With his extensive hospitality experience, strong leadership skills, and enthusiasm for service, I believe Mr. Moore will be a valuable addition to the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. Thank you for your consideration of Mr. Moore's application.
Thank you so much. And I will give Mr. Moore the opportunity to introduce himself, and then we'll go to some questions.
Well, good evening. What an honor to be here in the best city in the world. My name's Nate Moore. I've been with Marriott for over 26 years in various roles, just like Jackie said. And really, my passion is Eastside. All my kids grew up here. My family's from here. We're at Crossfire Fields every weekend during the summer. We come here for dinner. We come here for lunch. Panera Bread almost was like a staple in our lives for about 5 years there as the kids were little. But we make a large run through here. But more importantly, from the lodging standpoint, I bring a vast experience, probably over 60 hotels I've worked for directly or indirectly through Marriott International. My entire adult life has been spent there. I've also been in service as a colonel in the U.S. Army Reserves for 27 years as well. And so just leadership and depth of understanding of some of the biggest concerns that we might have from a lodging standpoint, I feel like I'm ready, and I would represent you very, very well for that.
Thank you so much. And I will note, we shared a little bit last week that we've updated the process, and for these appointments now and going forward, Council Vice President Forsyth and I, or whoever's council leadership, will interview the candidates before, and we were able to talk with Mr. Moore and recommend him for the council to be able to vote on and approve. So I won't ask questions, but I will open it up for questions here. I might have one later, but definitely for other council members to be able to ask your questions to our candidate. Council Vice President Forsyth.
Since no one is jumping in enthusiastically, I would just ask, in our conversation, you had mentioned your experience with the building towards World Cup and the economic development that could bring. And I really enjoyed your vision. So if you could just share that with the rest of council, that would be great.
Sure. What an amazing opportunity we have in front of us. As a soccer enthusiast myself, I've played my whole life. I played in Germany. Just for me to actually see this come through fruition for Seattle and the greater Redmond area is going to be wonderful. I do see a lot of compression happening from the city of Seattle. I've been on the bid side of this for the Seattle Sports Commission. I sit on that commission currently, and I oversaw some of the logistics that we did for bidding on all that for the hotels, and some of the logistics with the field. So to see it come through and for us to win it, and for us to have, I believe, 6 games in 2026 is going to be huge. It's going to be a very fluid understanding of how these teams will meet, and then the guests that we get internationally, and each team will be different. I do think Redmond sits pretty well based on our soccer authority in the state. We're going to get a lot of interest in this area, and I think with light rail coming on board and the access that folks will have into the city, this is a great opportunity for us to expand our exposure to the international community and the greater soccer community.
Councilmember Salahuddin.
Thank you. Really appreciated that answer. I'm a lifelong soccer player as well.
Okay, good.
And I played Crossfire, so great to hear
good.
that you spent a lot of times on those fields.
Yep.
My question is sort of around, in accordance with the World Cup, but also looking at what else Redmond has. We're working on a comprehensive plan for 2050. And so thinking about, say, the next 25 years, how do you foresee sort of the hotel industry or, heads and beds looking forward on opportunities where Redmond can create those opportunities for the community? We have a lot of different events, but are you seeing the partnership between hotel and city as a positive, or are there areas where we can improve to make sure that we're filling those beds?
It's not a huge hotel community from what I'm experienced in my career. So this would be the smallest hotel community. However, the growth is exponential. With the growth of Redmond, I think I read something that this is the fastest growing city in America percentage-wise. If hotels will have to follow, and you asked for a 25-year outlook, that's really, really large for me. I would imagine there will be development coming into this area with Microsoft headquarters, with Tesla and the influence of all the tech firms that have come into this Redmond and Bellevue area. We'll be very well set to probably have some very good feasibility on the hotel side. I think most companies like Marriott, Hyatt, Hilton, the big ones, will be interested in that as we move forward and diversifying our portfolio from offerings for all of our guests internationally and nationally. That'll be coming here. Yep.
Councilmember Nueva Camina.
Thank you. Welcome, Nate.
Thank you.
My question, a lot of times when we think about hoteliers, we're thinking about welcoming visitors, outsiders in, and making sure that we've got, service and hospitality there. What do you see as the hotelier's responsibility or role when it comes to local community?
Well, for me, you need to be participative. I feel like that's my goal, is to just be involved into everything. As the general manager, I don't run the day-to-day operations of the hotel. My job is to be more strategic than that and be involved with everything. If it's recommending restaurants or participating in different partnerships that I can do within the city for events that we do and everything, I'll be involved in all of that. So from my perspective, that's where you really make your money in the hotel business, is by participating with all the local folks and then building the community together. And I've done that throughout my entire career in every city I've been in. This will be no different. I think we have a really cool opportunity here to do that and partner with things and maybe even build some activities that we haven't done before. I'm an ideator. I love that. I'm going to talk to my guests. I'm going to get feedback. I was even working with Redmond Town Center just to get more feedback on how we can bring more business locally. I do have 2 restaurants, or predominantly 1 restaurant in our hotel, so that's very important for me to provide a local establishment for folks that might want to come there. Does that answer? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions? Councilmember Fields.
Yeah, thank you, Nate, and I really appreciate your experience and maybe as much or a lot more the vision that you described. I'm actually in Banff, British Columbia right now, and it's interesting that in choosing a hotel, my wife and I were evaluating, what is the local transportation? How close will we be to not just events, but good restaurants and good activities? I'm also amazed about the number of bicycles and the bike safety here. So you've described your interest in all of those factors and how that demonstrates a good vision for the hoteler or hospitality industry. And I appreciate you, and I look forward to working with you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, I will jump in with just one more, kind of a follow-up on a question I had asked in our first interview, which is, given that there are other members of the LTAC that work for hotels that are also have the parent company of Marriott International, can you just share with us how you think you can bring a unique perspective and how you would work with other members of the LTAC that might have the same parent company if they have different hotels that they manage?
Sure. Marriott has grown exponentially over the last 2 decades, probably. We have close to 9,000 hotels now. Each of those hotels is owned and operated individually. Even though there is collaboration at the corporate level, we all compete with one another, friendly competition with one another, and we bring the best out in each other. And so even though there might be a couple of other Marriott hotels or interest in the city, all of us are looking at it from our individual perspective to make sure that we're taking care of our hotel first, and we do compete. And so from my perspective, I think it's a great, the city of Redmond has been blessed with a few Marriott properties, and it is what it is. Those are the predominant ones that we have in the city, and it's great. My hotel is a full-service hotel, and so it brings a huge amount of convention and more business travel. The residence inn that's next door to me is more on the long-term stay and for insurance, and so we do compete at some levels, but for the most part, we're almost separate type of hotels. And then the Aloft and Element that sit on Microsoft campus are purely built for that. For the more younger generational traveler, and we would have like a little bit more of the executive side of that traveler for Microsoft.
Thank you. All right, I'll throw it out there. Any other questions? All right, well, seeing none, I'm seeing some smiling faces around here. So assuming there's no objection, we can put Mr. Moore onto the consent agenda at our upcoming business meeting on October 15th. And if you want to come in person, after the council will vote on this, we would be able to swear you into your role at that time.
Wait, what time?
It'd be at 7 o'clock on October 15th, next Tuesday.
Okay. Thank you.
And I'll just say thank you so much for volunteering for this, for bringing your wealth of experience, and look forward to voting on this next week.
Thank you. Super excited. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This concludes our agenda, and this meeting is adjourned.